Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something massive. We are unpacking an impending, completely massive heat wave that's hitting the United States right now. Experts are actually calling this a quiet but incredibly deadly natural disaster. So we're going to look closely at the data and break down the exact mechanics of what's happening right above our heads.
So what is just as dangerous as a tornado but completely quiet? Think about it. When we picture extreme weather, our minds usually go straight to the loud, chaotic, visually destructive stuff, right? We picture swirling tornadoes ripping up trees or massive hurricanes crashing into the coast. But the absolute biggest threat we face this coming week makes absolutely no sound at all. It doesn't tear roofs off houses, but make no mistake, it is just as perilous.
Meteorologist Bob Henson from Yale Climate Connections actually sums us up perfectly. He says, heat is not to be played with. It's just as dangerous as a tornado or hurricane that can kill you just as easily, just in a quiet and different way. That stark warning really sets the stage for our explainer today. It validates exactly why the National Weather Service is officially stamping this upcoming heat wave as significant and dangerous. We are looking at a weather event that demands the exact same level of preparation as a major hurricane making landfall.
All right, Section 1, a dangerous heat dome. Let's jump right into the mechanics and look at the sheer scale of what's dropping down on the country starting this weekend, an event experts say will last for well over a week.
To really wrap our heads around this, we first have to define what meteorologists mean when they talk about a heat dome. Honestly, just think of it like a giant atmospheric pot lid. It is a massive dome of high pressure that literally traps extremely hot air right down at the surface, right on top of us. And while it's pushing all that heat down, it also acts like a force field, completely blocking out any cooling winds or rain that might give us a break.
And the staggering scope of this specific event shows that this isn't just your standard summer warm-up. This dome starts this weekend and could easily stick around for 1 to 3 weeks. It's going to push temperatures 15 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. Climate scientist Daniel Swain calls this event remarkable because, well, it's going to park over the northern plains initially, but it is so incredibly enormous that it will smother 2/3 of the lower 48 states. It's expected to wobble and shift, eventually spreading coast to coast over 10 days. And bringing record triple-digit highs to places like Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and the Dakotas.
Moving on to Section 2, the nighttime heat danger, because here is where we uncover the true invisible threat lurking in this forecast. The real hazard isn't just the daytime high, folks. It's the severe danger of what happens when the sun finally goes down.
Take a look at this because the sheer proportion of nighttime records breaking is wild. The National Weather Service expects more than 90 local temperature records to be tied or broken. And amazingly, 2/3 of those 90 expected records are overnight heat records. This is absolutely crucial. When the night doesn't cool down, our bodies simply don't get the physiological relief they desperately need to recover from those broiling days. The heat stress just compounds, hour after hour.
Now, there is also a really bizarre anomaly happening in the southeast, which was pointed out by Climate Central meteorologist Shel Winkley. Because of the way this dome is positioned, rain is actually likely to sneak right under the southern edge of it. So you get this added moisture, meaning places in the southeast will surprisingly see below normal daytime heat. But don't let that fool you. That exact same moisture traps the heat at night, creating dangerously sticky 80+ degree nights in cities like Miami, Tampa, Galveston, and Charleston. The air essentially becomes a heavy, suffocating blanket.
Let's look at Section 3, the vicious drought cycle. A huge piece of the puzzle is understanding exactly why this specific heat wave is so intensely strong, why it's placed unusually far north, and why it's expected to last so incredibly long. It all comes down to the ground beneath our feet.
This whole thing builds into a vicious cycle. Step 1. We have regions already stricken by drought, which means there's far less moisture in the soil. Normally, moist soil absorbs some heat and slows down the warming of the air. But without it, moving to Step 2, that dry dirt causes the air to heat up way faster. This hotter, drier air leads us right into Step 3. It worsens the drought conditions, baking the earth even further. And finally, Step 4. This massive dryout causes the wildfire risk to absolutely skyrocket. The heat is literally fueling its own intensity.
Which brings us to Section 4, the climate change connection. To truly grasp what's happening, we need to zoom out and look at the broader context. What is the scientific data telling us about why these anomalies are hitting with such ferocity?
Looking at recent events really puts things into perspective. This is definitely not an isolated incident. Over just the past couple of weeks, we've seen major heat waves cause extensive suffering in Europe. Then the US East Coast baked, followed closely by extreme heat in the southeast, and now boom, this massive continental US heat dome. Like Daniel Swain points out, essentially any place in the United States that somehow managed to escape the extensive heat waves of the past few weeks, yeah, they're about to get hit right now.
So what's driving the bus here? Meteorologists are totally clear on the data. First off, yes, an El Niño has recently formed, but scientists say it is way too young to have a pronounced impact on this specific heat wave. Instead, they point to long-term climate change driven by the burning of coal, oil, and natural gas. The direct result of that long-term warming trend is exactly what we're seeing play out across the country. Heat waves that are becoming much more intense, lasting significantly longer, and covering vastly larger geographical areas than they ever used to.
Just let this number sink in for a second. 5 times. According to Climate Central's Climate Shift Index, which uses 20 different computer models to compare current forecasts to a world without greenhouse gas warming, the heat hitting 24 million people from Southern California to Minnesota this weekend is at least 5 times more likely to occur because of climate change. The data clearly shows this is a magnified event.
Shel Winkley's impartial analysis of this data highlights a really powerful conclusion. Through attribution science, researchers can definitively say that temperatures of this magnitude, spreading across this wide of an area, would be virtually impossible without the underlying influence of climate change. The baseline of our atmosphere has shifted, and it's making these extreme domes our new reality.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to consider. We are entering an era where the night itself becomes a danger zone, offering absolutely no sanctuary from the daytime scorch. As these massive heat domes basically become our new invisible hurricanes, how will we adapt? How do we build, plan, and protect our communities when extreme heat is the new silent storm? Thank you so much for exploring the data with me today. Stay cool, stay informed, and keep asking the right questions.